Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jeff here. So last night I was in a Facebook group and I was chatting with some counselors, and this is what the counselor posted. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but she was like, "Oh my gosh, my principal wants me to do a professional development on Wednesday, and it's Sunday night, and oh my gosh, does anybody have any ideas or PDs that they've done and blah, blah, blah about counseling, about social and emotional learning, about, the benefits of it and how teachers can help and all of that kind of stuff." And so I was like, that's kind of what I do for a living. I travel and do these. So yeah, sure. I'm happy to share my presentation. And so I go to bed and I wake up this morning and I see that like 15 other people were like, "Oh my gosh, can I have a copy too? Oh my gosh, please, that would help me so much." And I just never knew it would help so much. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use this PowerPoint presentation and essentially how I use this to help gain buy-in from my colleagues, to wow my principal into helping them to understand the impact of the work that you and I do all the time. So I'm going to stop running my trap and I'm just going to jump right into it. All right, so here we go. Here's the title screen. You can totally just take this graphic and make it your school graphic, whatever you want to do. So this is what we call the orientation section. Every presentation should probably start with the orientation section. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because if you were sitting watching a presentation, you would want to know two things. Who is this person speaking to me? And what are they going to be talking about, right? And you're kind of feeling unsettled until that person lets you know that. So that's what you're going to do here. You're just going to say, "Hi, welcome. For those of you that don't know me," and you go to the next slide. "My name is Janice Smith, and I'm a certified school counselor. I have my master's degree." You can kind of flex on them a little bit to show them I am an expert. Tell them how much experience you have and list any other kind of relevant stuff here, just to let people know. Some of your colleagues that have even been working with you for a long time might not know that you have a master's degree in this stuff, or that you're a big-time specialist, but especially also new people or your principal. Everyone, just let them know who you are. Then, again, let them know what you're going to be talking about. So you're going to say, okay, so today you're probably wondering what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about non-academics or social and emotional learning. You might be wondering, we're in a school, why are we going to be talking about non-academics? That's a fantastic question. We're going to handle that today. And we're going to talk about why it's important for educators to understand this. Oh, that automatically capitalized. I made a new different version that kind of takes out all of my company's specific stuff for you. And then we're going to talk about the counselor's role, what I do, and what the teachers do. So again, just to dispel any myths, we're not asking you, and timeout, beep, Zach Morris, timeout. Make sure you let teachers know that you are not ever asking them to be counselors. You're not asking them to be pseudo-counselors. You're not asking them to be mental health professionals. I made that mistake early on in my career, and you'll start to feel the tension build in the room if you don't say that. So make sure you release them of any fear that they might be having. So you're just like, you tell them who you are, then you go into the session overview and you say, and just to clear it up, nobody's asking you to be a counselor. So from there, what I do to even further reduce the tension, I jump into a game. In this game, I left it in here. I paid for it. It's a really cool website, and it's called downloadyouthministry.com. And so it originally was meant for churches, but now people all over the world, secular, non-secular, church, non-church, they have really fun games for kids. A lot of them have, absolutely nothing to do with Christianity, the Bible. That's not where we're going with this thing. But it's just a fun game. You can pull a couple people up, one person from the older generation and one person from the younger generation. So like a super veteran teacher and a super rookie teacher, and have them face off in this trivia challenge that's going to ask them questions from all different generations. You can give them lifelines, stuff like that. You allow each of them to kind of phone a friend or reach out to a colleague if they don't know the answer. But there are a couple questions, like they're just simple things like, what video game system is this? And then you ask Susan, who is, she's 61 years old. And so you'll get a little chuckle, and it's Nintendo Switch. But then you ask the young person, who's this celebrity? And 9 times out of 10, they don't know that it's Goldie Hawn. So anyway, I have this in here. It's there are a bunch of like different fun and funny questions. So anyway, that'll break the tension in the room. So, you could give somebody a $5 gift card or something, like a Starbucks gift card or something if they win, whatever, or just pat them on the back. So then it goes back to the title slide. Again, feel free to change the slide back to your school's logo or your counseling department logo, or I don't know. So now you're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. So people want to know what we're going to be talking about. So today we're going to be talking about social and emotional learning, or the abbreviation is SEL. And so if you're watching this and you kind of know that social emotional learning is that feel-good kind of stuff and it cheers kids up, and well, it's actually a lot more. It's the philosophy that if we can help our students and colleagues to be happier and healthier, they'll also be higher performing. And at this point, if you're the presenter, you can say, doesn't that make sense? Like when we are happy, when we are healthy, we're probably going to perform better. And then you can make the point on the flip side. But when we're unhappy, or we're having a horrible day, or there's something going on with our family, or there's something going on with our spouse or our significant other, or with our kids, or with our career, we're just unhappy, we're not going to be as high performing. And so that's why this matters. And so you might be asking the question, like, what will it do? Fantastic question. And so this is important to always include the data. If you're the presenter, there are a million different studies done about social and emotional learning and the things that we do. But this was a really cool study, and it was a big one. It was a study about studies, a meta study about 213 studies, 270,000 kids. They found out that their academics went up by 11 percentile points. So again, you just say, 270,000 students were studied, and schools that engaged in a philosophy of social and emotional learning. They had a social and emotional learning curriculum or a character education curriculum, and they adopted that philosophy, that their students were higher performing. So that way, if you're an English teacher, a math teacher, science teacher, social studies teacher, that's why you should be interested in this, because if we are paid and evaluated on our students' academic performance, it would serve us well to understand what the power of social and emotional learning is. Say it however you want. Don't get wrapped up in trying to say it verbatim. Again, I could do this presentation in my sleep. I do it 100 times a year. So after that, you can go into, here we go. So again, it goes back to that definition. Again, it's the philosophy. And so also, this is a nice little nugget, is that our colleagues, like, this isn't just for children, this is for adults as well. So now, because you're the presenter and you've been running your mouth for probably 5 to 7 minutes at this point, you're going to let them do an activity. You don't ever want to go more than like 8 or 9 minutes without having them do some kind of activity where they're moving, talking with their colleagues, something. So you're going to give them about 2 or 3 minutes, and you're going to ask them. So this portion of the presentation is what's called the tension. So the tension is where people need to understand the problem in order to listen to your solution. And what better way to do that than to ask the audience a question like this? So work with your tables, come up with 3 examples of behaviors that are coming up in your classroom. Like, are your students staying up late on their phones and then sleeping through your English class? Are your students, do you have little elementary students and they're just starting to really say mean things? My daughter, she's in 2nd grade, and she's already having boys picking on girls and calling girls fat, or just unbelievably hurtful behavior. What kind of behaviors are you starting to see in your classroom? Maybe it's impulse control. Take 2 or 3 minutes with your table and jot down 3 examples, and make sure you're prepared to share. Then you just set a timer on your watch or on your phone or something, and you give them 3 minutes. Then when they're done, this is what's going to happen. This is what you can expect, is that you're going to allow them to start venting a little bit about the behaviors. Somebody's going to raise their hand and go, they just don't respect me. And then somebody over on the other side of the room is like, yeah, they don't respect me either. And you're going, okay, next, who else has something? Yeah, kids, they the sense of entitlement, and when they have their phone out and I tell them to put their phone away and they look at me like I'm crazy and, oh, yeah. Or, yeah, I have students that they just think they can show up late. Yeah. So take 2 or 3, right? At this point, the room's going to be kind of buzzing. And then what you want to do, so now you built the tension is in the air. So what you could do as the presenter, and I'll put this in like pink or something so you remember to do it, is put your school data here that supports the things that they're saying. You are right now making a case for your awesome counseling program or whatever it is that you want to do, your initiative. So you could say, yeah, actually last year we had 432 discipline referrals about disrespect. We had 9 fights in our school. We had, a 13% average tardiness rate. We have students that are just, they're not showing up to school, blah, 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 blah. You say, you guys are absolutely right. But what solves those problems? Is it more math? No, math is awesome, but it's not. Math doesn't solve those problems. Is it more science, more English? No, it's not. And so your jobs are so important, but we can't do our jobs unless we take care of those issues in our school data. And so that's where social and emotional learning comes into play, and that's what I do here at the school. So again, what does solve behavioral problems is if we focus on building students, their self-awareness, their self-management. Their self-management is like self-discipline, it's self-control, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness. Those are the things that solve those issues. So now, after you stay there for a second, the next thing you're going to have them do another activity because you've probably been speaking for about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So what I want you to do, if you say this as the presenter, take about 5 minutes with your table and come up with some lesson titles. Like you don't have to write a lesson plan. That's not what we're doing here. You just have to come up with a title for a lesson. Like why being on time is more important than walking your girlfriend to class, or like, how being unkind actually makes you unhappy, or with your tables, take the problems that you posed earlier and write some solutions in the form of lesson titles. So I'll give you guys about 2 or 3 minutes to do that. And so make sure that you kind of gauge how long it's actually taking them. If they are then just chatting about other things, you can bring them back early from that. So that's great. And then you say, okay, so again, social emotional learning is the philosophy that builds these competencies. So what did you come up with? And then you have them come up with lessons. You say, yes, that's fantastic. That's great. Or they'll say, why it doesn't matter if you crease your Jordans if you're 20 minutes late to my class. Awesome, yes. Or we have teachers come up with funny ones all the time, like why not to call your teacher bruh, or like something funny like that. So again, and this is where you're going to land the plane. All right. So you say, you guys are 100% right. And now I hope that you can see how this study is true. When we help our students and colleagues to be happier and healthier, we're going to be higher performing. And I have to believe, and this is your emotional kind of pastoral kind of motivational speaker closing, you say, but I have to believe that no matter what generation we're from, we all got into education for a bigger reason than that. So social and emotional learning, the same study has also shown that it creates more caring students, happier students, more empathic students, less violent, more creative, and healthier students. And so that's why I'm here. And so that's how you can help. And then after that, you're going to go into your initiatives. So I'll make a slide for that. You're going to say, so here's what we do is we do group counseling. You can recommend kids for our groups. 2, we do one-to-one counseling. You can email me if you feel like there are students that might need my help that are showing, signs of needing help in these competencies. And 3, you can model these healthy behaviors in your class. So that's essentially it. And then you can turn it back over to your principal, and your principal is going to be wowed, and they're going to be excited, and they're going to have recommendations for what the principals can or what the teachers can do. and stuff like that. And so bada bing, bada boom, you should be done at this point. And so I don't know. I hope this helps. I was so excited to find something that people needed that I can help with. So if there's anything else that I can provide for you, let me know. I'm happy to create it. Make sure you head to our website. That's incontrolschool.com. That will. There are other free resources there, like a student tracker tool. You can get a free demo of our middle school and high school curriculum, which is Zero Teacher Prep video curriculum. You can have us come out and train your staff if you feel more comfortable with that. But I just got to say, I'm thrilled to be able to help you all. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you ever need anything else.